Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week of North American Academy action. We're into week 7 already, the last week before Super Week wraps things up, and Proving Grounds is right around the corner. I'll be the host of twitch.tv/academy. You can call me Kangas. Make sure you also have twitch.tv/FaceItTV pulled up because Mazel will be hosting that one. It's a blessing and a curse. Blessing and a curse.
Apparently I was muted, but welcome. I'm here, and I'm very excited. As I said, I was a little sad that we're already into week number 7, but hey, we are here for some wonderful action. I'm very excited. But before we get to the Academy action itself, we gotta talk about the amateur update here because we did have some things happening, with the amateur circuit as we're getting geared up and ready to go for the Proving Grounds. Now, this is the day 4 results of the Unified Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier. You see Maryville Saints falling both times. But it means that no team came out with a 2-0 victory.
They did.
Huge.
NFT, baby, they're doing it. They're making the run. And of course, this is the second circuit qualifier. A lot of teams earning points here, as we already have a couple teams qualifying for the bracket stage. And then we'll have the rest of the group stage run out with the lower bracket finals, as it were, in the kind of round.
That Taco Gaming game, by the way, that series, insane.
It was.
Just throw that out there.
It was insane. It was absolutely insane. So make sure that you're following those Twitch channels that you had. One is Academy, so you should already be following it, but the other is Unified, so you can keep up with all the amateur action going on. But outside of that, Mazel, we're coming very close to being done with Champs Queue here.
3 days.
3 days. 3 days away until we are done with it. So let's take a look at how the Academy players are faring. EG still kind of dominating the Academy standings here. Cowrie trying to push past that top 5 here. I actually chatted with him earlier this week, and he was like, Jojo Pion is grinding so hard, so it's probably going to be
70 points above everybody else.
It's nuts.
It's insane. Obviously, mid lane gets those quick Qs. We'll see, but I still am very proud of our Academy players. 9 out of the 20 top players in Champions Queue are in the Academy scene, and I can very much appreciate the grind that these guys are putting in.
Exactly. Awesome to see because, of course, I mean, you could, as a fan, put as much weight as you want to into these standings and what it means for a pro player's career potential, but it's just cool that the pros are overall utilizing
competition
this
within
so well.
Competition. It's always important.
There you go.
As talked about competition, we have something coming on the horizon here this week, Kangas, as around the world, Renata is enabled, and here at Academy, it's just the same, as we have a bit of a round table we're gonna play for you here with our Academy talent. So let's go listen in.
Renata, she will be played in Academy. Y'all mark my words, but not as support, no. It's mid lane that she'll be played. The new funnel strat, mark my words, she will be played.
You see, the thing is that support Renata loses to support Pantheon, so I have no qualms with her.
Frankly, after Riot's hotfix of Renata, this champ sucks. Keep on picking Tahm Kench.
That new Renata champion, let me put her where she belongs. You're trash!
Progress. Competition is for the weak. I dominate. What?
I mean, I'd be your footstool.
I thought that Renata's ult, because it was slow, meant that it wasn't a very good ability. Because it lingers so long, it's actually the best zone denial tool in the entire game. Did I do good, mommy?
And we got to have a little bit of fun with that one, but you can see all the varying thought processes of the Academy talent. I don't know how to explain that.
We all have our own unique perspectives, and I will be saying, as well, adding clarification, my Pantheon win rate against Renata is from 1 game alone, so take it with a grain of salt. But as of right now, I'm not concerned. Definitely not concerned. But outside of just Renata being enabled this week, of course, we'll wait to see if anybody picks her up. But we also introduced an award that we'll be presenting towards the Proving Ground season of the Most Valuable Prospect Award here in Academy. Now, we're close to the end of the regular season, so we're all thinking about it. But we actually had Joshi sit down and kind of go through his short list of who he thinks are current frontrunners.
Thanks, guys. If you're looking for the definitive 100% correct, no questions asked, perfect short list for the most valuable prospect candidate, you are in the right place. Remember, our criteria this year is which player, if promoted to the LCS, will have the most wins by the end of the next 3 years. But first, a couple honorable mentions. Number 1, Ayla. Fortunately, he hasn't played enough games to be considered. Busio, looking very, very strong, just needs to look at a mini-map. Copy, just outside despite his tremendous growth. In every real metric, Tokoa is the best performing top laner in Academy, and arguably better than a third of those already in LCS. With his newfound drive, he has shown tremendous growth this year, and if that continues, he can easily be in the top half of top laners come 2023. The only thing preventing Kenby from being in the LCS already is that he's waiting for an offer from a top 5 team. When he turns the slump around, you're all going to remember why 100 Thieves from summer of 2021 wasn't even feared. Kaori is a phenomenal aggressive player, with moments of positioning brilliance throughout some of his team fights. As he steps up to lead Evil Geniuses even more in their second half of the round robin, I would not be surprised if he ended up following in Luger's footsteps. And remember, if you think somebody else deserves to be on this list, that's like feeling that Sprigatito is a better starter than Quay Coco. I'll let you keep believing that, but really, you're only lying to yourself.
Awesome to hear Joshi give his thoughts on the current frontrunners for most valuable prospect. A reminder that we're looking at it from if an LCS team signed them, how many wins will they have in the next coming years? Not immediately right now, but who is that most valuable prospect if you're looking to build a franchise around them? I think it's a cool take on the traditional MVP award.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited we can do that. I mean, we've all expressed our kind of thoughts on that, but it's always so exciting to be able to set that up. Also, the fact that Joshi has to throw himself under the bus by putting his prospects up there already. We're all doing ours behind the scenes, so it's no problem. We do have to go ahead and look at the Academy standings before we get into the action today, because we are getting to the end of the season.
The club!
That top 6 is the goal for all of these teams. But you see that clump. It's starting to get a little bit in different shades. You have the clump at the top, the clump in the middle, the clump at the bottom.
Literally different shades, because EG are like a different shade from everybody else. And the clump is actually differentiating more so than it was in the middle of the season. Of course, it's week 7, so we expect to see some teams kind of breaking away. But the big thing for me is CLG have lost their hold of first place. They're now tied. Yeah. And you look at the series score, literally tied with Golden Guardians, as they own the. It's a 1-to-1 head-to-head between those two. So really tight race at the top. Cloud9 are running as fast as they can up there too, with a crazy win streak that they're rocking. But you're right, it's all about top 6, auto qualifying for proving grounds and not having to play through the PG qualifiers then. And yeah, I mean, if the Academy teams can make it, this is looking like a pretty solid list here. But EG, Dignitas, FlyQuest, even TSM, we can't count any teams out because mathematically, any of them could still make it.
Yeah, mathematically. You know me, though. I'm not all about math. That 13 and 13 clump there, I just find so interesting. The fact that we have so many synergies between all these teams in the Academy, it makes it so fun.
So many
Kangas, we got to get to the schedule, to the fun ones today.
Exactly. Let's take a look at Stream A here on LCS Academy. Now, this is going to be, of course, if you have this one pulled up, awesome. Pull up the other stream as well that we'll talk about in just a second. But we start with 100 Thieves Academy versus Team Liquid Academy. FlyQuest versus TSM. That one is crucial for both of these teams that are at the bottom of the standings. If they want to make that run to top 6, it starts with each other. And then Cloud9, Golden Guardians.
Speaking of crucial, all right.
One, man.
That one's a banger for sure. Well, on stream 2 over on twitch.tv/FaceItTV, we will have Evil Geniuses Academy taking on Immortals Progressive Academy. And then Dignitas try to not go 1-1 against CLG Academy at the top of the standings.
I don't think well, also CLG are on a 4-4 streak, so their last 4 series have gone 1-1. I think that this is just the script writing itself, man.
It really is, man. It really is. But hey, that's what we're here for. The competitive action. If you are here for the competitive action, you got to make sure to go follow at Path to LCS. If you're not, then you're not here for the competitive action. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's where you'll find all the updates to our content, all the player updates, all the league updates, even updates for all the amateur teams as well.
Exactly. We tweet out the standing, we tweet out the schedule, we tweet out I've been keeping track actually. It's been like 2.5 weeks since I got flamed by the account. So at this point, and also
pretty good track record.
The guy that we usually have on isn't on the page today. So I can say whatever I want, honestly, and I'll have no repercussions. Although I say that as I haven't.
We miss you, Austin.
Yeah, we do miss Austin, of course. We miss Austin, our social media guy. But hey, we got Dylan in today. Regardless, though, make sure that you're following the page for all your updates. But Mazel, I think that's it. I think we're getting ready for teams, for games,
I
right?
think so. I want to say so. I don't think we had anything prepped, so I don't know what you want to do. I'm not arm wrestling you.
No. This one I'm giving out to Magical, who has been struggling to get proper hydration on casts lately. So, Mazel, do you have any water? Do you have any hydration with you right now?
I do. I have
Perfect.
a full cup of water. Let's not be magical, and let's all stay hydrated while we watch some Academy games, shall we?
We'll see you after the stream split.
Welcome back to another episode of the NA Talent Update. I know it's been a while, which means we've got a lot of action to catch up on, so let's dive right into it, starting with Amateur. While we are in the second circuit qualifier for Proving Grounds, it feels much like the first, with 100 Thieves next, staying dominant.
Already Skull Trap secured. Flash right on to Dishao, though. Ends up taking him down. First blood goes the way of 100 Thieves neck, and a second and a third, potentially.
100 Thieves next are a stellar 25-1 in both circuit qualifiers as they lead the class of the 4 teams that have already qualified for the bracket stage. All of the action for Amateur continues this upcoming Monday, as these 8 teams are going to be the final 4 spots to make it into quarterfinals. As we head into our final 2 weeks of Academy, we're going to need all 10 games left for every single team, as we have to figure out what to do with this giant clump. While the clump are posturing to make top 6, we have had 3 top teams emerge in Academy, and 2 of them are going toe-to-toe this week in C9 and Golden Guardians. A very exciting matchup, given the last time, well, disaster struck.
The sombrero from Ryoma, too, on a copy to solo kill him while there's a fight over the dragon. The smite goes over to Malice. What the hell's happening right now? You even got Malice continuing. Got a double fear. He's got the stun, got the kill, looking for 6A, but 6A is going to be able to take him back. He's got excited. He's got the flash over the wall. He's got a double kill, even with the root onto Isles. It's not enough to stop the triple kill, 6A.
Since that disastrous 0-2 in the Reddit heyday that followed, C9 are 13-3 in their games and have seemingly shut everyone up with the press of a button.
He's having some fun as...
Wait, watch. Oh, 1, 2!
GGA C9A's the big match this week. The big match last week netted our Rafa Pog moment of the week as Darshan connected with this 3-man Scion smackdown.
And CLG said, you know what?
They do this in time. They melt
We'll
it.
just do Baron instead.
They melt it.
4,000 HP, 2,000. They're
Darshan's
burning it down.
coming.
Mouse cannot get there in time. Baron has been secured. But a huge knockup for Darshan. Copy, it's just that damn easy to fall off the package. Cloud9.
Ooh, poggers.
We do have a roster update this week, as Arrow has landed the starting spot in Immortals, and Wild Turtle will be competing with Immortals Academy. This has been the NA Talent Update heading into Week 7 of Academy. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. May your week be filled with positive gaming experiences.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the twitch.tv/Academy stream for Week 7 of Academy Broadcast. Make sure you have twitch.tv/FaceItTV pulled up as well, so you're supporting all of the games. But regardless, we've got 3 best of 2s ahead of us today, and I will not be alone. I got Cubby in his signature dad sweater. Looking good, Cubby. And Magical, this is probably the most dapper I've seen you dress all season.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means you look good.
Look, first
I missed out on the turtleneck memo,
First,
you know?
he insults my water intake, which I have a gigantic jug of.
Are you hydrated? All right, good. Is that water? Wait, I can't even see.
That is
it's
water.
like blue on screen. All right.
Well, yeah, it's a water bottle.
Oh,
You weren't kidding
okay.
when you said you had a giant bottle. That is, what is that, 2 gallons?
Something like that.
It's quite large.
Well, I mean, appropriate, considering we're kicking off today with Team Liquid.
True.
Are you on Team Liquid?
Well, today I am.
Well, we're going to talk about Team Liquid in a sec because, of course, we have them in our first match. But I wanted to talk about 100 Thieves before we get into that. So, Cubby, thank you for bringing our conversation away from hydration. Make sure you're properly hydrated at home. And into the series ahead of us today. This one could be pretty important for standings and seeding going into Proving Grounds. Of course, there's still a lot that teams can look to climb in the standings. But these are 2 teams that are in that clump that we were talking about during that pre-show.
Blob. I am going to
know.
attack you with a fury you've never faced.
Magical was really pushing the blob, but I'm happy we went with the clump. Anyway, 100 Thieves Academy, talk to me about them, Cubby, because this is a team that, again, proving ground champions from last year and a very different look this year. So what can they do to differentiate themselves from the clump?
Of course, only their top side, the same from last year. But I think the unique part about this 100 Thieves Academy squad is that I think their standout players this split have been their rookies. Wixie and Busio in the bot lane. They've been fantastic this split. They've been taking it to 2v2s across the board in Academy. And I'm excited to see the challenge they're up against today because Ayla's back, baby. They're against Yon and Ayla, one of the best bot lanes we have in Academy. And I'm really excited for this 2v2 down there.
Yeah, the bot lane will be interesting for them because of Team Liquid having to swap around the roster so much. Rhino coming in multiple different times, even mid lane having some swaps earlier in the season. I was chatting with Coach Spawn a little bit about that earlier in the week, and he said, look, it's been hard to catch our stride here. So Magical, for a team like Team Liquid that also has really high expectations. This is, in fact, the Proving Grounds Finals rematch from last summer here. What can we expect from TL?
In a sense, it is a rematch. There are a couple different pieces that have swapped around. But honestly, when I look at Team Liquid and where they found the most success, it is in mid lane. Avery, especially if you give him LeBlanc, has been an absolute terror with how he's able to play that, but also looking towards Bradley and how he's able to play in the top lane and whether or not we're going to see the top form of Bradley or kind of the middling form.
And that's the thing, is that we actually have multiple mid laners on both of these rosters because, of course, the role swaps, Cubby. Bradley was a mid laner, now top laner. Busio, mid laner, now support.
And I think, our focus going into this game, kind of taking a step back and asking, how are these role swaps going for both of these players? And I think that in some of the highlights that we're going to run, in the side of Busio, I think that Busio's role swap is actually going about how we expected. He is a standout support at times when it comes to him displaying his mechanics, finding those 2v2 kills, but there are still moments where Busio looks lost on the map or does get picked off. And on the side of Bradley, he has been team fighting like a madman. That is the reason that he found himself in Academy, the reason that he was the #1 prospect that we had as a mid laner last year. But we haven't seen him be able to put together the same performances when it comes to him playing in lane, executing lane states, and making sure that he's on a good footing moving into the later stages of the game where when he hits those team fights, he's a menace to go up against.
And we saw some of that in that replay. From Busio's perspective, maybe stepping a little too far forward, not necessarily knowing where it's safe, but we also looked at this from Team Liquid's perspective, and you can see where things start to come together. So Magical, if we had to give a quick just temperature check, who's had the more successful role swap so far? Bradley has had a lot more time, so let's factor that in, but what are you thinking?
God, that's a hard one because I feel like both of them have had really high highs, but also have had some pretty low lows. Busio, I've seen some of his gameplay where he's not landing those skill shots that we're used to him landing as well, overextending, but then also there's moments where he lands every single one. Bradley, we see that sometimes he's able to play amazingly with those team fights, but then he struggles in lane, like getting solo killed by Philip when he just steps a little too far forward, not having that advantage. There are these elements from both of these players that I love, but also I want to see that growth still.
Cubby, if I had to kind of find a word that almost describes both of them, it's that they both feel invincible at times. They just think that, hey, I can't get caught here. I can't die here. Like, whatever I'm doing in this moment, I'm safe. And oftentimes, if you're playing a role that you haven't developed to the pro level on, these are kind of understandable and relatable experiences, right?
Yeah, I mean, none of the things that we're seeing out of these players are like huge concerns moving forward, but I think that it is fair. I mean, this is week 7 of Academy. We have this week and next left in a regular season. And I think we have to start kind of taking a step back and recognizing like, hey, what are some of the strengths and weaknesses of both of these role swaps? I think there are very clear reasons that we see from each player about why they find themselves in the position that they are in. We've seen some of those great moments that Magical was highlighting, but I want to see the next steps of growth. For Busio, it's just picking up that role, not being lost in some of the stages of the mid game. And then for Bradley, if he starts executing his lane states a little bit better, I think that Bradley can be a real terror. And I know that from speaking with Jan yesterday, he's someone that believes that Bradley can be one of the best top laners that we have in Academy moving potentially in the summer. I want to see if he can do it a little bit sooner than that because they're going to need it if they want to make that top 6.
Well, this is why I'm always excited to see Bradley lock in Gangplank. We saw, especially in the early stages of the season, where he just popped off. The Prowler's Claw gangplank, the repositioning goes great. But then we also saw the weaknesses against FlyQuest, where it wasn't nearly as powerful. His team fighting was still excellent, but the lane phase was, for lack of a better word, atrocious.
Ooh, lack of a better word. All right, that's a harsh language right there, Magical. But either way, eyes will be on Bradley, of course, in that laning phase, especially Busio as well in the support position. See who has had the more successful role swap going into this head-to-head. And with that said, we're ready now for pick and ban. So I'm going to pass it to Magical to pick us up for pick and ban of game number 1.
Well, thank you so much, Kangas. It's always good having you around. We'll see you for the halftime show. But we got to get ready for this first matchup. 2 teams in the blob, in 100 Thieves and Team Liquid. I'm excited with this matchup because how close they are, but both teams have had their struggles. They've also had their strengths, and going up against one another, we can see the clash of styles and whether or not both teams are going to have that pinnacle of success where they both look good, even if it turns out just to be a 1-1, or if one team looks way better on the day than the other.
I think the interesting part about what we're seeing with a lot of these teams that are developing is that I know there have been a lot of moving pieces. Like that's something that Spawn has definitely talked about and struggled with, just saying, hey, we aren't able or like we haven't been able to really gel the way that we want to, just because we have had rotating doors that support. Harry, of course, arrived late from the Oceanic region as well. But I think that we are now at the stage where these rosters are set in stone, and I really want to see if either of these teams can really start to step up and be that dominant team that we know they can be. And a lot of it, for me, it comes down to, especially on the side of Team Liquid, Ayla is one of the most exciting players that we have in Academy. I think that he is someone that for LCS fans he's proven that he deserves a spot at that next level. And while Rhino, I think, stepped in and performed admirably, I want to see if Ayla can be the one that really steps in and is one of the best players of Academy, something that we know Ayla can do.
And this is where the question mark is for Team Liquid, is with Ayla stepping back into Academy, it means more roster swaps. They haven't had this consistent identity, even if some argue, oh, it's just the support. That's a lot of your shot calling. Ayla brings so much in terms of communication for a team, but when you don't have that for some time, you're not as used to it. You are trying to make your own decisions without having that leader, even if Rhino did step up really well. And I actually have to applaud how well he's played as a substitute for Team Liquid this far in the split. It means that for Team Liquid's sake, they got to figure out how to mesh super fast.
And this is something that, I think Spawn really brought this team together last year. And keep in mind, this is the roster. 4 out of 5 pieces are back. This was our top team of Academy. They had Jenkins in the top lane last year. They were the ones that won Academy playoffs in the summer regular season. And this is a team that we have really high expectations for. Whereas I think on the flip side for 100 Thieves, it's been a bit different, some of their inconsistencies. And I think this is one of the few teams where we have seen the less experienced members be the ones that have really stepped up and carried. Wixie and Busio have straight up carried some of the games that 100 Thieves have won. And I think unlike any other team that we have had in Academy, I think the rookies on this squad have been performing higher than any other rookies that we've been seeing across really all of Academy that we have this year. So I want to see if they can continue to step up, and they're going to need to step up going into the Yawn Ayla bot lane. I know that they have been playing on and off together, but this is still the bot lane that we expect to be incredibly strong in Academy. I love the way that Ayla plays the map. I think it's going to be a really good test for Wixie and Busio, and I want to see if they can step up to the challenge.
I do too. I'm really excited. There's a lot of elements pretty much across the board for both teams that are really similar. Domsu, Bradley, both of them have had high highs, but also have had low lows in this split alone. Envy versus Armeo. We know that both junglers are really good at their roles that they do for the team. Mid lane, Jimian versus Harry. Gotta be excited for that. I already kind of highlighted a little bit earlier that Harry's LeBlanc is something that I have my eyes out for.
And it's something that we have to watch out for Jimian now, too.
Yes.
He's only played it twice, but the one game he played it, 100 Thieves destroyed Cloud9 in that game. It was off the back of Jimian's LeBlanc. Now, we've talked a lot about some of the table setting. We have to dive into the draft as we have now gotten underway. And I teased a Wixie Busio versus Yawn Ayla, something that's really exciting. a lot of priority being put on that bot lane early in this draft as 3 marksmen are already taken off the board. This only leaves up Jinx for those power picks.
Right.
And we're going to have to see if Team Liquid decides to give it over or if they want to ban it and take it away and force 100 Thieves to first pick something else.
Well, if they ban the Jinx right here, Thresh is still open for Busio. I think Thresh has been Busio's best performing champion that he played the split. Played a lot of other things, but that's the one, besides maybe Lux, because, you know, mid lane to support role, it has similar things that it can accomplish, but the Thresh is always what I'm excited to see Busio locked in. But they ban Lee Sin instead. Jinx and Thresh both available, but the Jinx has way higher priority.
So you talked about Busio's Thresh. I'm going to counter and raise you Ayla's Thresh, as it is 8-2. And that is across both LCS and Academy play. Now, that is on the board. Some of you have seen Team Liquid play a lot, especially in the Jinx. It has been the Jarvan Thresh combo. It's been really big for them. But it looks like they're actually just going to give over the Thresh to Busio if he wants it. And instead, they're going to set up for a Karma Ezreal lane in the bot lane. And they have already secured the Ryze mid. So this is a lot of priority, a lot of emphasis on trying to move around and get your side lanes ahead, already showing for Team Liquid.
It makes sense, doesn't it? There's Derry, Aphelios, Caitlyn already banned. What is it? 3 of our 4 top played marksmen. Ezreal kind of just falling short of that. Jin's kind of up there as well. But that's what you need to make sure that you're going to have a strong bot lane in some senses to counteract what you knew was going to be on the other side, which is that Jinx and Thresh as well. I like this pickup that Team Liquid have with the Ryze, even if it's into Jimmy and Victor. Jimmy has played Ryze, I think, the most of any player in Academy so far. So it is a great takeaway from that player. Even if LeBlanc is something really exciting for both players, it's still nice to see that it's essentially like a 4th ban.
And that Ezreal, as we teased, that is being picked up. So now, moving on to the second phase of draft, neither team has a jungler. Now, we expect Team Liquid to be the one that takes a jungler on 4, saving that last pick for Bradley. So curious what 100 Thieves wants to take away. My mind immediately goes towards the Xin Zhao. Also, Armeo's Jarvan, it is 4-1, and I think it's been his best champ so far this split. But given that 100 Thieves does have Thresh, I'm curious if they let the Jarvan through or not, because I think you can play into it with the Thresh, but you still have 2 immobile carries. It could really be a powerful setup if Team Liquid were to get something like Jarvan and Ryze going into the Victor. So we'll see if that's taken off the board. At the moment, it feels like 100 Thieves are just taking away maybe some of those powerful side laners they're worried about, as I like the Jace ban, really good in the Jinx and Victor. And we're going to have to see if they decide to take away that Xin Zhao. That'd be the other jungler that I'm expecting goes off the board against Armea.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm a bit surprised by, is this Renata and Jace first bans of the second rotation of bans for both teams, not the jungle focus. I was expecting, along with you, it was going to be 4 jungle bans across the board, but top lane is what is being hit by both teams. Worried for the fact that they aren't necessarily going to have the best matchup, especially when we look at the champion for both top laners. Bradley, his Gangplank, I already mentioned that before. Gomsu's Graves, his Gomsu's Rhaegar, Gnar have also been these really high-performing champions when he gets those.
Yeah, those bans are honestly a bit curious to me. And I teased the Xin Zhao being taken away, but it actually looks like they're more afraid of the Hecarim, which Armeo did play in the 2 wins againt FlyQuest, their last series where Team Liquid did 2-0.
Do we see an Udyr pickup here for Armeo?
Ooh, it is an option.
It is.
I think that Xin is still probably the pick, as we are still on 12.4. We haven't seen the changes quite yet. That front line could help.
Oh, or Volibear.
Okay. Instead, going to be the Volibear. So a little bit more priority placed on the first 2 clears, having Armeo be that bridge for the other lanes to hit the later stages of the game.
Interesting. Okay, I don't necessarily hate this either. I like the dive potential it sets up for a lot of these lanes. When we look at them, you have unreliable lockdown tools in the Ryze. You have none in the bot lane outside of Karma. Again, unreliable. So having something that can engage for the team, that can be better locked down on a target, it really does help round out the composition for Team Liquid. Even though we don't know what the top lane is going to be, it's that bridge, as you mentioned, because when we look on the other side, this is a lot of late game scaling that 100 Thieves have gone with the Scion in the top lane, something that's just going to be a frontline meatball to sit in front of Jinx with a fresh 2 to keep the Jinx safe. They're really trying to commit towards scaling, and then they lock in Kenby's Kane. We've seen this a couple times in Academy. It hasn't had too much success in the past, but it's still exciting to see locked in.
I guess this is the pick against Voldabear, and this is interesting because you were teasing it, the late game scaling, 400 Thieves on this blue side. I don't think there's anything that stops Team Liquid from having full run of this early game. They're going to have priority bot. They have priority in the jungle. They have priority mid. They now get counter pick for top. So 100 Thieves are playing for the late game. This early game, it has the potential to be deadly for them, as they're now going to have to dodge out on this Aatrox versus Scion matchup. We've seen this be brutal for so many Scions that we have had in Academy. And I just want to see what Harry's able to do. I think that Harry and Armeo, this is the experienced duo that we have seen run so many maps with the early setups with the Voldabear and the Rise, not only this year in Academy, but last year as well. They're returning to some of this comfort, and I want to see what they can do, because they're going to have full run, full say on the map. And if they can get the ball rolling for Team Liquid, it could be really difficult for 100 Thieves to get back in this game.
But the thing is, 100 Thieves do have that scaling option. And we've seen a couple teams really hard commit towards scaling up, having a team composition identity built around waiting it out, and do well. All they have to do is essentially be non-interactive. Of course, don't forfeit every single thing into the entire game, but make sure that you're getting at least an even state throughout every stage. So once you hit those power points, once you buy those big items for Jinx or Victor, it's going to be nearly impossible for Team Liquid to crack through them.
But I think it's going to be really tough for 100 Thieves to even get to that mark, just because they're going to be shoved in every lane. So I think this draft for Team Liquid, this is a good test for them. I know that we've really been hyping up this team, this roster now coming together again with Ayla. I mean, they have all the tools at their disposal to make early plays happen. And I want to see if these guys, as a team of 5, can step up, be that team that we know they can be. Because speaking with Jan yesterday, you know, he's like, yeah, we have Ayla back. We're not going to drop a game this week. I know that 3-1 last week was a big turnaround for Team Liquid. Got them back at 500. But now that these guys have their full roster back, they're not looking to drop a single game. And with this setup, the onus is on them to make the plays. And so I really want to look out for Harry, Armeo. Let's see if they can make the plays, and then what areas 100 Thieves can counter in. This could be a big game for Busio and Wixie to prove that they are that superior 2v2, or they are what we've been hyping them up to be, because someone on this 100 Thieves roster is going to have to step up in this early game if they don't want to be facing a 2-3K gold deficit when points fall.
And so I do want to give everyone a heads up. As the Lord of Academy that I am, I have decreed that we're going to delay the game. That's just how it's going to be. You're going to have to wait for it, because as we all know, casters decide when the game starts, right, Cubby?
Right? They do?
Yeah. At least I do.
Really?
I have that power.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It has nothing to do with like a trade bug that happened in Champion Select where we're trying to get issues resolved behind the scenes. It's just because I decided this.
Casters start the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, casters start the game. We decided not to start it yet. I honestly appreciate it. I had some more notes I wanted to get out.
Perfect.
So, you know, I feel like this worked out well for the squad.
Well, first off, there's one note I have. I'm going to make sure it is the blob, not the clump. The clump sounds just infinitesimally worse than the blob.
I personally, you know, I tried to like have like that happy medium where I had the Play-Doh represent the clump. So it's kind of like a blob. Like you can turn Play-Doh into a blob, but it's still the clump.
No, it's the blob. Why would you call it the clump? That just sounds dumb.
Well, you see, that's why I started a news show, so I could push what I wanted to push. That was the entire strategy behind it.
Well, then fine. I'm gonna have to get my mad scientist on this one. We'll have,
there we go.
We'll have to have a war over this naming process. But let's get back on topic. Let's start talking about our teams, because they are running through Champion Select again. They're hopefully not gonna have a trade bug, because they could just lock everything in since we already know what everything is. So when we look at these two teams, honestly, like they are pretty similar on paper. That's why I was trying to highlight, you know, Gomsu Bradley, similar story. Ken Armeo, similar story. Jimmy and Harry, similar story. You already talked about Wixie Busio. But Jan and Ayla, when we've seen them in the past, have been this really dominant bot lane. Jan, a newer player in the scene when he joined in from Scouting Grounds back in, what was it, 2020? I believe is when he graduated and joined a team. Joining Ayla alongside that, if I recall. I'm trying to remember my history.
Yeah, you got it about right. The returning members for that team would have been Armeo and Jenkins, as of course I think something that a lot of people forget. Yes, Team Liquid was one of the dominant academy teams we had last year, but the year before they were a 10th place team.
Yep.
And that had Jenkins and Armeo on it. Players that, Jenkins, of course, now playing in LCS, Armeo, some that we still think incredibly highly of in Academy as well. I think that this turnaround, I mean, that is a lot of credit to Spawn and the entire team on what they were able to do. But I think the real identity of what made this team special, it was how Armeo and Ayla played together. These guys were able to utilize any priority that they had to win a map. And that's why I'm so curious about this game, because this roster is now reunited.
Yeah.
And when I see a Volibear into a Kayn and Ezreal Karma and the Jinx Thresh, I'm just thinking about priority and what can Team Liquid do with that priority. When they are at their best, they're ones that are able to find these early game leads with drafts that do prioritize the early game, but then they never give the enemy team a space to come back. And I think that this is a comp where they can do that to 100 Thieves. So I want to see if they can execute.
So the only thing that I'm going to posit to you as a question is looking at mid lane, Victor into Rise. Victor, I haven't, I'll say this, even it's not a slight against any players, but I haven't really seen anyone in Academy play Victor in the way I'd imagine it, the way I deem proper, where you're really trying to play aggressive at level 1. That's one of those power points that Victor has as a champion, where he is really good at dueling level 1. Rise, not so much. And I'm curious to see if Dimian can get that advantage over Harry out the gates and then utilize that to kind of bridge that gap that you were talking about Armeo will do for Team Liquid, but also 100 Thieves need to have happen in order to get themselves to the late game.
And I think that for this Victor matchup, it definitely relies on items. Like, I think once Rise starts going towards that Fimbulwinter, that tankier build, that's when the Victor starts to take over. But in the early game, it's going to be before that E-Evolve. Rise is the one that runs this lane and gets to dictate the map. 100 Thieves are very much going to be on the back foot. So I really, as we dive into this one, level 1 is the only level that, like, Victor feels okay in.
Right.
Just with the Q trades. But even if you overextended the trade, Rise gets his E back up.
Fair.
If he does want to start that. So it is a bit... It is definitely a matchup that Rise has push, and Rise is able to move. And I want to see how 100 Thieves can play around that. And I really want to dive into this. I know we've talked so much about, the bot lanes, some about, mid as well. I want to keep our eyes on the junglers, because Kenvi, he had counterpick. Kenvi is still the big carry of 100 Thieves, and in the games that 100 Thieves are winning, Kenvi's the one that is getting ahead and is making sure that 100 Thieves never let up. He picked Kayn into this matchup. That's not a dream matchup for Kayn going into Volibear. So I really want to keep our eyes on the junglers, because Kenvi is going to be regulated, pretty much farming for the first 2 clears. Armeo is going to be able to move. And I want to see what Armeo can get done with that, and if Team Liquid can start to use those advantages to run the map early.
Yep, and I look at how many times he's played Kayn. This is his 3rd time in the spring split for 2022 that he's played Kayn. So loading up onto the Rift for Game 1. It is Week 7. We are nearly done with our regular season for Academy, and we're kicking off Week 7 with Team Liquid Academy and 100 Thieves Academy.
And as we dive out onto the map, we're going to see Team Liquid posture for some clarity around the bot lane, trying to get that ward down. Hey, it's no shenanigans yet. They're just going to check, get the ward. They did start with Sweeper. They want to go for the sweep.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. They give it to me.
So you can see Harry... Yeah, Harry picking up that means that he hits level 2 now in the first wave, which is rather nice for the mid lane. And this does help ensure that Karma Ezreal can get to the wave first, which is very important in this matchup.
Yeah, and when I look at how they're going to be able to do a lot of this, you talked about Armeo being the bridge for Team Liquid, where even though they have powerful lanes, they got this really good early game, they still do need stuff to make sure that their mid game is going to work out well, and getting them to that state with a Volibear gank that can go for earlier plays than something like a Kayn can. Plus, I'm imagining he is going to be the beefy frontline for this Team Liquid squad.
And as we start to dive into where these two squads are starting, it does look like Kenvy's actually going to start on the Raptors. So I like this for power farming junglers. You clear out your Raptors, Krugs into red. You can take a pit stop at red, but it just makes sure that the second camps respawn a little bit quicker. That just help you get those camps back sooner, get some more experience. As we see the Karma Ezreal, since they get the start in lane, that means they get to throw a lot of poke at the bot lane 100 Thieves early. You can see Yawn and Ayla putting that to good use.
You can tell Wix and Busio understand this lane as well, that it's not going to be the poke. They have to play aggressive, but that might have been a bit too aggressive. They already got the Ignite down from Ayla, but that was a lot of damage. Both of them suffered.
You see Yawn continue to weave in those cues. As I wanted to focus on the jungle matchups. I think it's important. Kenvy, curious clear from him. Actually did the Raptors, sprinted to the other side of the map, whereas Armeo, more standard clear, going red Krugs into Raptors. Kenvy just trying to speed through this jungle as quick as he can. He will hit 3 out off of this, and we'll have to see if he wraps back around to that red.
I have a theory of why he did that. There was a ward on red buff, but also the fact that Yawn took a while to... Yawn and Ayla both took a little bit of time to actually pop out, but I gotta put that on pause because Wixie got low. Okay, he'll be fine. Going back to the point. Since they didn't know where Yawn and Ayla were, it might have been that Kenvy was suspecting a late invade from the side of Team Liquid. Not wanting to get punished by that, he went top.
Now, curiously enough, so 100 Thieves, their bot lane, they are going to hit level 2 up a couple creeps here, but Armeo has already wrapped around with 3. He skipped over his 2 bot lane camps to be here in time. Wixie still doesn't have that level 2, just hit it. Can be able to sneak in. And Team Liquid using that early priority early to attack the bottom lane, get Wixie and Busio behind.
They are not doing well in this bot lane. They are getting punished. Envy now going to suffer too. The pull in onto Armeo with the flag, gets the flash out of the bear, but that is going to be lightning strike right underneath the turret, nearly taking down Busio. He's able to sidestep.
So low.
He is so low. Ayla wants that kill. So do Yawn and Armeo. They want to cancel the backs with flash in. Nicely done by Ayla. Wixie still barely alive as well. Look at Kenvy on the other side. I don't think they're going to be able to do much. They got to have to let Wixie die to Yawn.
And it's textbook play from Team Liquid. We talked about using the early lane, early jungle priority to attack. There's nothing that 100 Thieves can do. The Karma Ezreal getting a lane first. The poke connects from Yawn and Ayla. Health bars get low. Armeo wraps around at the perfect time. You can't defend with a Kayn. Kayn is not useful until you transform. As we get a replay, there's nothing that Kenvy can do to get involved here.
Can I just say, props to Ayla. Flash is an offensive summoner spell.
Hey, net of the kill there. I think Bloodthirsty support was perfectly fine. Helped him get the rest of that dive off, and it's going to help Team Liquid get that early game lead we were looking for in this draft. And that's what we teased early. Armeo, Ayla, syncing up, getting things done. It's not Ayla getting outside a lane to make it happen, but it's still Armeo supporting his teammates, supporting that bot lane, and making sure that Team Liquid get this first game started off on the right foot.
And with that, they're both 1-0-1 in the bot lane. Sitting pretty, even if CS is even, because Wixie Busio booked it back into lane once they respawn. But it's still going to be a troubling lane. Look at the inventory of Yawn. Having that Sheen, having Tear of the Goddess, going to start scaling up.
Oh boy.
And
this is
where
things get scary.
He's got flash. He should be able to get away. There we go.
That's still Ayla. He was the one that gets off reset, able to make something happen mid. Harry was pulling that wave, and that's him and Armeo sticking up again to attack something of 100 Thieves. Next time they make an appearance in that mid lane, Jimmy won't have flash. He's going to be in big trouble as that Victor.
That he will. It's going to be a repeat gank momentarily for Armeo and Ayla. Even bot lane could be an option, though Wixie does still have his flash available. Could be a little bit trickier to actually re-gank that bot lane now that you're getting some levels under your belt for both Wixie and Busio. That's why I expect, like you said, to have this mid lane be what is attacked, as Harry now has to flash away because he saw Busio right behind him.
And we do have to at least check in on, what Team Liquid wants to do next. Because we see Armeo, he's about to wrap up his second clear, or at least clean up what he missed on his first clear, as he is now hitting the blue buff and the Gromp. I think for Team Liquid, it's very important that as this early game composition, they are able to try and get the Dragon, but more importantly, that Rift Herald. I think they can use this to break open bot early. And I like what we're seeing from 100 Thieves, because Kenvy's expecting that Armeo makes an appearance at the end of his second clear, and he's here now to at least try and get some stats.
Nice play on Ayla. He had
Really
no
nice.
flash. He's had an aggressive flash before, but here is going to be a party train into the bot lane. Bucio's low Rune Prison kill for Hayri. Lightning with Sky Splitter not connecting onto Wixie, but both supports are dead.
And I think that's a trade that Hunter Thieves is very happy to make. I know that this means the Dragon's going to go over, but at least Wixie's able to pick up this giant wave.
Yeah.
And, you know, Team Liquid, they actually don't feel comfortable enough to actually start this objective. They maybe want to put that focus on the Rift Herald. So I think that trade 1-for-1, considering that Wixie is able to at least get all this CS for free, that's A-okay for Hunter Thieves, and a good read from Kenvy considering all of his camps are down, had nothing else to do, able to make something happen for Hunter Thieves.
I wonder if it's due to the fact, like you mentioned, that was a really fat minion wave crashed into the turret. Got a plate for Yon, continue to get more gold into this Ezreal to try to get that mid-game power spike over Jake.
And we will see if Team Liquid can potentially continue to use the fact that Yon and Ayla are ahead, as I am looking to see if we might have a Rift Herald swap, as it was a base from Bradley, but no, he TP'd back to the top side. Bradley should be able to continue to maintain priority in this matchup. It's really nice for Aatrox and the Scion.
Yeah.
Just using those empowered Qs to make sure that he can never get that big Q off onto the Aatrox. So I want to see if Team Liquid can attack this Rift Herald clean the next, because they do have to keep the pace of this game moving. And it is a 1K gold lead, but want to see if they can take a clean Rift.
And what we didn't even get to talk about, because we're so focused on the spot lane with the plays, is that Bradley got a cheetah recall off initially. He backed, I think, at level 4, bought a call, went back into lane, and then there he gets another recall off, TP back in. He's got this advantage. He's really using this over Sion, since Sion can't really do much against Aatrox.
It's a brutal matchup. We've seen it quite a bit in Academy. It's not that difficult to execute. We've seen a lot of our Academy top laners be able to really punish blind Scions, as that Rift Herald I was looking for out of Team Liquid. Armeo going to rotate over here on time. Gamsu going to drop a ward and check, but we'll see if Kenby is able to even get here. As he was clearing out his bot camps. It's no Dragon for Hunter Thieves either, and this is some of that early draft priority really coming to fruition from Team Liquid. Already found a lead bot. Bradley just has that natural lead top, being left in isolation. And Team Liquid are starting to cash in across the map. That's a clean Rift Herald from them.
This is where we just gotta applaud the drafting skills and prowess of Coach Spawn for Team Liquid. I've seen that many times as I've casted Academy over the years, that he just has such good draft. You're going against the competition, really knowing what his opponents like to do.
Yeah, so like when I'm judging or talking about drafts, I usually, obviously drafts, it's all about decisions. And I think that we have different opinions, or everyone has different opinions about what we think is a good or bad decision or trade, but we're ultimately trying to set up your team for success and make decisions that help them win the game.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the reason why his drafts look so good is that Team Liquid are just good at playing around the drafts they take. They always know their win cons. Armeo attacking that bot lane early, I think, is a really good demonstration of that. And we can already see him and Harry continuing to attack this bot lane, just knowing they win top over time, as Armeo's here again, this time with the Rift Herald, and they're going to try and take first pick.
Getting more and more gold into Yon's pockets. Benvy's nearby, but he just cannot do much right now. He's not evolved at the moment, so the charge goes for free, nearly with the turret itself.
And, I mean, this entire game plan from Team Liquid, I know that we somewhat teased early that, they have lane priority, they have first move, they can make things happen. Team Liquid has been able to make everything happen in this early game, as, I mean, this turret is going to fall on the next wave. It's opening up the opportunity for them to take the Dragon. And on the side of the map that we haven't even really panned the camera towards, Bradley just keeps on slowly winning this matchup against Gamsu. Now, Hunter Thieves, of course, do have that backdoor win condition, but Team Liquid is cashing in on everything they took early and making it really difficult for Hunter Thieves to get back in this one with the early lead they've been able to obtain.
Bradley's essentially proxy farming right now against Gamsu as Aatrox. You only really see that, I mean, you see that with some champions, but it's mostly Singed that everyone talks about that with. This is a good matchup so far. Every lane is winning, as you said, the powerful lanes. Bradley here in the top lane getting a great champion into Sion, but I'm also looking back towards the junglers. Kenvy's been doing his damnedest. The power farm against Armeo, since that is kind of what he needs to do. But Armeo is punishing him for that. At every stage, he's saying, yeah, I know you want a power farm, so I'm making these plays happen. I'm focusing on bot lane. I'm getting this Rift Herald. I'm getting this Dragon. And it's making it so that even if your power farm as can be, it's just not that great. Plus, he's not that far ahead of Armeo.
I mean, I would much rather be in the shoes of Team Liquid where my Ezreal already has this Trinity Force and is outside the bot lane, right? I don't really care about that CS deficit. I think Armeo has done his job and more in this early game. And now I want to see what Team Liquid can do next, because we have already started to break into this mid game a little bit early. And I think, you know, our big...
oh, that was a flash in from Gamsu? Okay, a bit odd.
Okay. Harry was able to get around the wall. I think if he was able to flash R before the root came down, maybe that's a play, but not able to connect 400 Thieves. I think that, you know, the next thing we kind of have to check in on is how long can Jimmy keep this mid turret up? Because we have some weird lane assignments at the moment. And you can see 100 Thieves trying to use it, going in on Harry, but
that
I think Kenby's in trouble.
Them. Look at how much damage Kenby took from Harry in a 1v2. This just shows you the power they have at this moment with Jimmian, the focus. He had to flash, but the root still came in, and here's the Dunk Squad with the ult to get the kill for Yawn.
Team Liquid C2 bot, they send 3 mid, they say, we'll take this. A-okay, gonna take Jimmian off the map and now pressure this mid lane turret. I wanted to see how long they could keep up that mid lane turret, as they're gonna get Kenvy's flash as well. And it just doesn't feel like 100 Thieves are able to make any plays with this draft. It doesn't feel like they're able to make anything happen, and Team Liquid are just running them over because of it.
Even looking at Gamsu, who's got an Anathema's chains built up already, he's just not tanky enough. That was a lot of damage put down by Harry. They could have probably got the kill had they not had to chase him down through the minions so effectively for Harry, but it still forces Gamsu back underneath this tier 2. It is wins across the board for Team Liquid, even if it's only 4 kills. You have to keep in mind, it's only 13.5 minutes into the game. Plates haven't even dropped yet, and we're having a 5,000 gold lead for Team Liquid.
And this Team Liquid reset and get back out on the map. I just want to highlight, again, talking with Yawn yesterday on the podcast. We got to sit down with Yawn for an hour. He said, I don't think we're going to drop a game. He's like, you can quote me, we're going 4-0 this week. And what a start for Team Liquid. Getting Awa back in this roster, I know it's a draft where they can make plays, but cannot emphasize enough how much Team Liquid have been able to do with this priority, have been able to make plays. And it feels like with this main core, Yawn was very confident, and I can really see why now, because him and the rest of this team, and they're playing with just no fear. They aren't giving 100 Thieves any windows to get into this game at all. And it's really going to be up to Boostio Gamsu to try and find some form of favorable engage, because they are so far behind at this point. They just can't take a 5v5. They need to try and find picks. They need to try and make something happen. But Team Liquid aren't giving them any angles to do so.
Not at all. And as we get closer to when skirmish team fights will take place and Bradley gets involved, one of his most powerful points, we have to even applaud his lane phase. We kind of were wondering how that was going to play out into this one. But when you have an Aatrox Psy on lane, it makes it so much easier. And then he's already built up this item. He's already getting these power points for when the team fights commence.
Yeah, I think Bradley, I mean, he's done his job this game. It was a bot focus. He's ahead in the counter pick. I think Bradley, that's a respectful performance from him. And good moving forward, because the place that Bradley has really excelled are the team fights, what we highlighted in the earlier stages. So we're going to have to see what he can do with his Aatrox. Now, we do see 100 Thieves. It feels like their solution to breaking the map from Team Liquid is trying to hover Jimmian, make a play where they get enough upfront damage down, but Kenby shows top. Team Liquid, they don't even have to set up this Herald, set up the mid wave. They can just start it, and they know that 100 Thieves can answer.
They didn't know where Bradley was, because bot lane Gamsu's clearing out the minions, so they expected all 5 members had already conglomerated? Congregated, there we go. Up towards the Rift Herald. I had to think of my word, sorry. English.
You were thinking too much of the blob, conglomerated.
Yeah, I was.
So, yeah, you still want to push that.
Hey, look, it is the blob. Nothing will change my mind on that.
Well, while we're going to talk about the blob or the clump, I think that we have to continue to hit on how 100 Thieves are going to overcome this mountain of a gold deficit they are facing. As we see off camera right now, Armeo starting up this dragon. It should be the second one falling for free over to Team Liquid. And I think one of my concerns for 100 Thieves is their comp just isn't going to do damage until 2 to 3 items. And I know that Jimmy, taking the Everfrost on Victor, we see this quite a bit, especially in the Rise matchup, as you can kind of match Everfrost for Everfrost, but you're going up against an Aatrox, Voldabear, Rise. I think Leandries, especially if it's going to be the tank Rise build, which is what we expect to see, that could do so much more damage for 100 Thieves. It was not the build for Jimmy, and I think this just delays 100 Thieves Spike even longer, as it's a Kraken Slayer at least for Wixie, but they have to wait until he at least gets LDR to get through this front line that not only has so much health in the Aatrox and the Voldabear, not even to mention the Karma Shields coming through, but then you throw on the gold lead and how ahead they are in items. It's a tough one for them to overcome at the moment, Mad Magical.
Yeah, and this is where it goes back to what you had talked about before, the ability to get to that late game for 100 Thieves with the power on the other side of this early to mid game from Team Liquid. They're utilizing their comp so efficiently, Team Liquid are, to get these leads, to punish to punish 100 Thieves for their inability to do much here in the early game.
And I think, now that we're seeing the consequences of it, I know Team Liquid, they've already knocked down that bot turret. They've gotten mid to half. And currently, they're just setting up a 4-1 where, they send 3 mid. They're going to get shoved with the Karma Ezreal, and then they just go hover one of the side lanes. This one is going to be Harry, as they're trying to get the Victor off the wave, which they have done successfully. And this should be another turret going in favor of Team Liquid.
It should. We're just waiting it out at the moment. Then when these turrets will topple, Team Liquid have every advantage. They don't really even need to fight.
And this is the beauty of, Harry, or well, kind of Harry as he is in the side, but we talk so much about how well Armeo and Ayo are able to play and read maps. This is just textbook Karma Ezreal play. Get that mid prio, go hover the side that you want to attack. And you can see both Armeo and Ayla linked up doing this as a team. Makes it so difficult for 100 Thieves to respond. And they can't attack Bradley or Harry on these sides. I mean, in this mid game, these two champions are just way too tanky for them to hit. So 100 Thieves, their only answer in this game really is buying more time. And Team Liquid want to stop it.
Yeah, and at this moment, they are. They're keeping 100 Thieves completely corralled. They are the ones controlling the map. And we're just waiting for the moment where maybe a Busio, this player we've highlighted many times, or Wixie, can actually pop off, find these picks, these plays, scale up into oblivion. Oops. But at the moment, that play way earlier on that Team Liquid were able to make happen in this bot lane have punished Wixie and Busio and put them so far in the hole that it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon.
Now, on the bright side, for 100 Thieves, they were able to stop that Herald from crashing, so they do get to keep their mid tower alive a little bit longer. Also get a free reset, and now Harry, he's been chunked out a little bit, but Kenvi doesn't feel comfortable enough attacking him. Intelligent move from him as Armeo and Ayo are both rotating over. I'm curious what ends up happening, Mad Magical, with this third dragon, because it is a minute 50 away. We have a Hextech Soul on the Rift as the gates have spawned. And I still don't think 100 Thieves are in the position where they can try and fight this. They need more items. They need more time. And I think if Team Liquid sets this up cleanly, you're going to put 100 Thieves on that dire 4th dragon timer where every single time dragon spawns, Soul is being threatened by Team Liquid, and 100 Thieves are forced to try and win any of those team fights, which they are very far behind still at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering when and where 100 Thieves can get back into this game. 6,000 gold behind, 20 minutes into the game. Not a single neutral objective has been picked up by 100 Thieves. So this just is Team Liquid's game. It's a slow burner, sure, but it's been played perfectly by Team Liquid so far.
They haven't given 100 Thieves any windows. We'll have to see if they can continue to take those windows away, as you can see Kenvi, Wixie, and Busio trying to get a little bit further up. Importantly enough, Kenvi does have that blue evolve, so this one-shot Kayn, it is something that is a threat. They do have a lot of ways they can deal with it. Their top side's very tanky, but Kenvi will be looking for either the Ezreal or the Karma. Currently looking to get a little bit of a love tap on the Bradley, able to use that blast to get out. But credit to 100 Thieves. They've grouped up as 5. They've sacked a lot of waves, but they do have control over this bot river.
And I always feel like that is their desperation play. They have to have this work out for them, because if this fails, this game is going to end. With the pick attempted onto Armeo, it's forcing out the ult away. True Shot Barrage barely tickles Gunter. It's Kenvi who takes the brunt of the damage. Here's a Realm Warp 2 looking for the fight, but they don't even take it. They baited out the box already. Kenvi has to heal up with Shadow Step just to get away.
And this is the issue of the lead that Team Liquid has. It's too much. Kenvi instantly chunked out. Really love how aggressive Yawn was able to play that on the Ezreal. And now it's a free dragon going over to Team Liquid because 100 Thieves try to contest. They don't get anything in return. And this gold deficit grows to 6K as Team Liquid continue to keep the pace of their early game up and continue to take away any opportunities that 100 Thieves have to get back in.
Oh, now Kenvi's getting bullied by Harry. He just might get solo killed at this rate with the flash he does.
Tank Rise hitting hard. Harry has quietly farmed up like a madman. He's sitting at level 14. Has completed Fimbulwinter. That's 260 creeps at the 22-minute mark. As Harry just takes down Kenvi, takes down that counter pick, and now Team Liquid look to take down the Baron. This should be uncontested once again. Team Liquid just continue to run away with this game.
There's no way they can really fight back. They're even TPing both solo runners here to try, because like you said, they have to. This is the last play. If this doesn't go well, it is over. With the smite secured from Armeo, and the fight's going to be abound. Here's going to be the World Ender pop, double knockup with the flash in. True shot barrage. There goes the bot lane. There goes the mid laner. Only Wixie on the other side getting chased down by the bear, but the bear wants to eat. He is hungry, and he can easily get you underneath your turret.
And Team Liquid, this has been a statement game from Dead Mad Magical. Ayla is back. These 4 players that won all of Academy playoffs in 2021 are back, and they want to get to the top of the table again. I know they're fighting for top 6, but this is a message sent that in the last 10 games of Academy, Team Liquid, they want to say they are one of the teams that you have to deal with. They are competing to be one of the top dogs, and they have just dominated 100 Thieves in their return.
They really have, and credit to the bot lane. Yawn and Ayla's reunion in this game has looked immaculate. Pulling around this newer bot lane that we hyped up in Wixibusio, they show that they are the team, they are the bot lane that you really should fear.
Now we do have a second look at that Baron play as, I mean, 400 Thieves, this is a 4v5 scenario. They don't have Smite. But this game's gotten so out of control that they just feel like they have to try and make a play. Credit to Wixie, that was close as, we returned to live.
It's no point to
Oh
talk
boy,
about it.
Yawn's able to find Busio, and the dominoes just keep falling for Team Liquid as I just love the confidence in this game.
Cubby, he's 4-0-4. He was 3-0-4 before, but he has 3 items built. Yawn does. Look at what Busio has to answer that. He is how many levels down to him? I think he's 4 levels down to Yawn. At this rate, Yawn could chase down nearly every member of 100 Thieves.
Nothing stopping Team Liquid this game as we'll see. Kenvi's at least attempting onto a Harry,
but we saw what happened last time.
So
this 2v1 doesn't work for you. Even with the Umbral Trespass onto Harry, he's got the damage. He can chase it down. Yeah, healed up just a little bit, but now they're turning their attention onto Gobsu to make sure that he's not going to be able to do anything. They've got so much. The base is being open. There's a double kill on the other side for Bradley as they dove inside of the base. This is that team fight prowess from Bradley we talked about.
And Team Liquid, they took the priority. They took the ability to make plays. They said, Armeo, Ayla, we're going to give you the opportunity to run this map. That is exactly what they were able to do for Team Liquid. 100 Thieves never able to move in this one as that late game scaling comp never allowed to hit the mark. Team Liquid going to be porting some minions in to make sure this one's a little bit quicker. Wixie, Jimmy are getting up in a couple seconds, but Team Liquid should be able to wrap this up.
I don't know what they can do to stop this game. It has been long since over. The early game prowess, the early game domination from Team Liquid has netted them this first victory. And like you said, that Yawn said, he is here to get a 4-0 week, and he has started it off strong.
And I mean, I know how much confidence that Team Liquid has in this roster. I know that, you know, there have been difficulties in terms of, you know, moving pieces, Harry getting in late, but I know that, you know, from speaking with Team Liquid, from speaking with Yawn yesterday, they really feel like when they have their full roster, they can be the best team in Academy. And this is a statement win from them, coming back and just decimating 100 Thieves. I know they had priority in their lanes. They were able to do a lot with it. But the matter and how clean Team Liquid make that look, that's why we get so excited about this team, about this roster. And I'm excited to have them back. And now I want to see if they can do this again against 100 Thieves. And they can do this against some of the top teams that we have in the league. Because as we move closer to Proving Grounds, These are important wins for Team Liquid. Keep in mind, they're tied, a 3-way tie for 4th. That means that those are the last 3 teams to make that top 6 and avoid the best of 3 against an amateur team in the play-ins. So Team Liquid come together at the right time. I know these are important wins for moving up the standings, getting that right seed. It was so dominant from them.
Yeah,
very impressed.
They're part of the blob. The blob is what they're part of. And
trying to distance themselves from
They are. This is the best way to do it. Getting this, not even just a win over 100 Thieves, the team they're tied in the standings with previously. This is a dominating game. This really was a great performance to show the form Team Liquid is back. And if they can keep this up, this is a team that will rise up in the standings, try to contest for one of those top 3 spots, but we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out. For now, we're going to toss a break. When we come back, we'll have some fun shenaniganeries. Make sure you stick around. Hello, I'm Mad Magical, and recently, I kidnapped some of our Academy players and forced them to do some menial tasks for my entertainment. As well, I've convinced one of my co-casters to now bring judgment on these players on how well they performed said tasks. You know what? Without further ado, why don't we just dive in and see how well they did.
With the stack of toilet paper provided,
make your team's logo. Oh no.
The logo must be made only from toilet paper
or toilet paper rolls.
You have 5 minutes and we'll be judged on the best logo.
Your time starts now. Okay. Let's see. This one's pretty easy, I think. For me, at least.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I have an idea.
Am I allowed to look at a picture or no? Oh, right. I'm wearing it. That's helpful, kind of.
Oh man. Oh, that's not a lot. That's not enough. Oh crap. I'm gonna do this strat.
Yeah. And now we need to make a circle.
And that's the T. Is that good? I think that's good.
All right, get this out of here. All right, no problem. We're gonna make like the outline.
It's fine. We're speedrunning it now.
T, there you go. That's perfect. I think 100 Thieves.
Wow, okay.
Okay, that's actually not that bad. I actually think that that's not that bad, I think.
Look, Bradley, I respect the fact that you actually drew anything out, but your stripes are on the wrong side, man, and for that reason, I'm going to have to go Wixie, Chime, Bradley.
I heard you have my task. Thank you. Recreate your favorite moment from League of Legends history.
The moment can be from any point in LoL or LCS history.
Even if it happened just a week ago or 7 years ago, you have 10 minutes to plan out your recreation.
After 10 minutes, you have to recreate your moment
in no longer than 1 minute. Best reenactment wins.
Your time starts now. Okay. All right, this is my shoot for Praise Arrow in the World Championship. Canceling Echo's recall. Boom, canceled. We end the game.
Oh my god, he's killing them all! He's killing them all! He's insane!
No flash forward, but the heal comes out and they turn to Wolf as Bang feels like he can get back into the fight. Just 100. Has no heal. On Saba. One more shot as Wolf wants the glitter lands.
A standard Leona play.
Well, Wixie was pretty on the nose. Bradley's ambitious recreation was absolutely incredible. And with that in mind, we're going to have to go Chime, Wixie, Bradley. Can I go home now?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. All right. Figure out the answers to the questions below from the Frenchman.
The Frenchman may not answer in any language other than French.
Okay. The Frenchman may not write anything down in any language other than French. Nice.
You have 5 minutes. Most correct guesses wins.
Your time starts now.
Okay, there is no English. Got it. So if I ask you your favorite color.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Oh no.
Je dois répondre en français. C'est bleu, mon ami. C'est bleu.
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 Oh, okay, blue.
Oui,
Nice.
bien
Okay, so I
fait.
don't have to ask it in French. I
No,
just need-
no,
oh,
no,
okay.
no. How tall is the Frenchman?
C'est 6 pieds. 6 pieds 3.
6'2". Easy. Yeah.
Non, non.
That's not 6'2".
6 pieds 3.
6 foot?
Non.
6'3"?
Oui.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
What is the shortest reign of any French king?
C'est 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
5 minutes?
Non, 20.
Ven.
20.
What is Ven?
3,
Non,
4,
non,
5.
non.
We can do this all day.
Oui, on peut.
7,
Non,
8,
non,
9,
no,
10,
no,
11,
no,
12,
no,
13,
no,
14,
no,
15,
no,
16,
no,
17,
no,
18,
no,
19,
no.
20.
Oui, bien
We
fait.
did it.
What do you need me for, Magical? Isn't this just straight timers that you already have? Doesn't that just make it Chime, Wixie, and then Bradley? Well, those are our final scores. Bradley has 5, Chime has 6, and Wixie all the way up as the master of tasks with 7 points. Now, can I go home now? It's pretty cold in here.